The News Channel 15 Highlight Zone with Glenn Marini and Ross Kinsey.
This game is very big. They're pretty tough. This is a shot in for the championship.
It'd be the first three-peat.
We really aren't into sharing conference titles.
We know that our backs are to the wall.
Hit them harder than they've ever been hit before.
You got to contain Todd Fricky.
They love to run the ball.
We're just going to hit them as hard as we can.
We're right where we want to be.
It's been a while since we beat these guys.
Certainly has, and it is the Toddlers and Tiaras version of the Highlight Zone because tonight we're passing out a couple of conference crowns.
That's the case in the NHC, where a win by Homestead would give the Spartans at least a share of their 5th straight title, but we'll get to that game of the week right after a shootout at Spooler.
If it supersedes the game of the week, you know it's good. In the SEC, it's not been your typical year for Dwenger or really for Snyder, but when these two powerhouses get together, you never know what's going to happen, like, last year's 46-45 double overtime win by the Saints, perhaps the best game of last season. Well, this would be perhaps the best game of this season. Saints with 4 straight wins against the Panthers pick it up in the third. It was 21-14 Snyder after being up 21-0. But early in the third, Mike Fiacable to Keenan Sean. That ties it at 21-all. A little bit later, Fiacable to Ryan Watercutter across the middle. That's a touchdown. And now it's 28-21. Yeah, Dwenger with 4 straight unanswered TDs. Well, guess what? Snyder decides to answer. John Nelson, his 4th touchdown of the game. And we're just in the third quarter. That knots it at 28-all. But more Fiacable finding Steven Espinoza again across the middle. 35-28 after that touchdown. You know what, Russ Isaacs? Not exactly pleased to see that on the scoreboard. In the fourth, though, he'd like this. Nelson, his 5th touchdown. Are you kidding? It ties it at 35, and it would send us into overtime. Dwenger gets the ball first on their second play. It's a touchdown up the middle from Espinoza. But guess what? The PAT blocked by that Snyder special team. That was huge because it made it 41-35. Snyder needs a touchdown and an extra point to win. Here's the TD. Brandon Phelps on the QB keeper from 1 yard out. So the all-important PAT. Joshua Spitnail. It's good. It's good. And Snyder snaps that streak against the Saints in overtime. 42-41.
And everything. We need this to take us to the playoffs and take us and let's go further than what we're doing.
The great thing about high school sports is that kids get to go through this experience. I mean, this is what it's all about right here in a nutshell, why kids should play high school sports. Because they're battle tested, they're in this intense situation that they're going to face later in life. And I mean, this is what it's all about, having been put in there and seeing how you're going to respond to some tough stuff. And that's why this is great. That's why we do it.
Kurt Tippmann gets it. Snyder hosts Wayne next week, and Dwenger will host Lures, and that will be our game of the week. Well, now back to the game of the week here in Week 8. The ACAC title up for grabs at Lions Field. Leo 7-0 overall, 4-0 in conference. Garrett 6-1, and right behind it 3-1 in the league. A win by the Lions, and the Purple Pride would clinch at least a share of the conference title for the 3rd year in a row. It's Garrett at Leo, and it is your Highlight Zone game of the week. Lions ranked 6th in 4A, averaging 40 points a game. Garrett 15th in 3A, putting up 32 a night. First half, how about Ryan Leiter? Number 12 has been doing it all season for the folks in purple. Finds his man, favorite target, Gage Corner, the senior. Yeah, he's pretty open. He goes in for the touchdown, and it's 7-zip Leo. Now Leiter decides to hand it off. Who else would you hand it off to but Trayvon Carr for the short touchdown run? 13-zip Leo. Brandon Moreau now handing it to Todd Fricky for a quick touchdown run along the sidelines. His 24th touchdown of the season, 3rd best in the state of Indiana. But how about this? More from Leo. Ryan Leiter with the touchdown right there, 25-7 at that point. And then you're going to see Leiter with the arm, and Leiter was lighting it up as he hit Gage Corner. Leo goes on to win and clinch a share, at least a share, of the ACAC championship, 42-14.
Feels really good. We were pumped all season ever since this summer started. We were pumped about this game. We had this game circled, and it's awesome to come away with a victory in this one.
What we try to do is have balance in our offense, and I'll tell you what, it's nice when you have the athletes who can do that. Like you said, Ryan and Gage hooking up, and the way that Trevon runs, and like I just said, our offensive line is doing a heck of a job too. So we're proud of our effort, proud of our guys. We still have a game left.
All right, Leo's got Bluffton this coming Friday. Well, Garrett is back at home against Heritage.
Sticking with the ACAC, South Adams, just one loss in league play. The Starfires at Woodland pick it up early. Dustin Warner to Nick Batt, picking up a lot of his 79 yards. He turns on the afterburners, quickly 7-zip. Starfire, Sherwood Haylock, not really liking it so far. How about Zach Morgan? Had a big game for South Adams today, gets the short touchdown, quickly 14-zip. Now in the second quarter, Warner looking downfield. He had 128 yards rushing as well. Finds Marcus Rich on the nice pickup. Morgan finishes the game 116 yards, 2 touchdowns as South Adams. They're now 7-1, 35-14 the final. Also in the ACAC, down in Bluffton, Adams Central looking to snap a 5-game losing streak as the Jets facing the host Tigers. First quarter, John Rolfe sticks it in there, 6-zip Bluffton after a missed extra point. Then in the early second, it's Adams Central's Kyle Baker as AC takes a 7-6 lead. But back come the Tigers guy named Ryan McCarthy. He can do a lot with his feet. He can do it with his arm as well. Picks up Patrick Stackback. He takes it down into scoring territory. A few plays later, just 2 plays later, it's McCarthy to Jake McKinley for the touchdown. The 2-point conversion, no good. This one goes down to the wire, and it's AC picking up the win. 21-20, the final. Let's go back to the SAC, and we're going to take you down to Indianapolis. Bishop Luers down, taking on Indy Brebeuf. Jesuit Knights were crushed by 20 by the Braves last year. Picked this one up early. Tyvell Jamison, I don't know which way he was going, left, right, it didn't matter. Up the middle, takes it down to the 3-yard line, and that's where Mr. James Kanapke finds Michael Rogers for the touchdown. Knights looking good early, and they're also doing it with the defense. Kendrick Mullen, the interception deep in Brebeuf territory as Luers comes back to get the big win in this one, 48-20 the final.
All right, how about the battle for the totem pole? Always a good one at Chambers Field. Southside, Northside. Skins won this game last year. We pick it up in the first. 4th and 5 for South. They go for it at midfield. Anthony Lanier says, no, that's a sack. Northside gets the ball, and they go to the air. C.J. Jackson to Carrington Eaton. That is a 40-yard strike, and it's 7-zip Redskins just like that. How about more from the Redskins? They would put this on the one. Taquan Walker, big old number 74.
Big man.
Check him out. 7-4 goes in for 6. You've got to love
that. It's like the fridge.
Ryan Hall having a good time as Northside wins the poll 42-7.
Don't look now, Bruins fans. Northrop riding a 3-game winning streak, looking to make it 4 against Wayne. Pick this up in the second quarter. The Generals on offense. Jalen Thomas hits Andrew Hughes, and he's looking to pick up some yards right there, but Northrop in control in this one, thanks in part to Mr. Colin Brockhouse. He would have 193 yards, 3 touchdowns in the game, a lot of yards right here to Mr. Charles Barrage right there. Northrop would end up putting this one away late as Josh Stein punches it in. Northrop gets that 4th win in a row, 47-13 the final.
The Fighting Martones playing some good football now. Concordia trying to snap a 5-game losing streak as the Cadets step out of conference to take on undefeated Lakeland. Apparently, the folks up there run fast. That was Tim Abbott with a 60-yard gain, and then for Lakeland, the handoff to Dustin Wohlheater. It's a solid player for those Lakers. Makes it 21-zip Lakeland. Tanner Spencer can throw the football. Finds a wide open Brandon Webb. He would get caught, though, from behind near the goal line. And then it's John Poor getting the touchdown to make it 21-7. But how about Mr. Spencer? He would be intercepted here by Jacob Lichson. And Lakeland still undefeated after a win against an SAC team. 38-19 Lakers, your final. Well, we still got a lot of action left to show you. That includes a game that's been Busco's bugaboo the past 5 seasons. We'll see if the Eagles can stay undefeated in the Battle of the Birds while taking on the Fairfield Falcons.
And Homestead could clinch at least a share of their 5th straight conference title. The Spartans down in Ossian for a date with the Norwell Knights. That game and more coming up next in the Highlight Zone.